Hello, beautiful beings. I'm coming to you today with one of the most vital steps that we miss in the process of doing anything for ourselves. And that is, I like to describe it as loving yourself first in order to make change. But there's a lot that's going on in our body that if we aren't doing what will feel like loving yourself first, we may not be sending the right signals to our body to help us make the change that we want to make in a particular part of our system. Now, this really can be anything related to any health issue. This can be more outwards, like weight loss or skin health, or even in general, happiness. But it really is vital for anything physical that you're looking to improve in your system. You need to go back and work through these steps in order to help your body actually make that change. It's going to seem quite simple, but actually, in reality, is quite complex. But it is the key to having your whole system working to support you in what you want to achieve. So join me, beautiful beings. We're going to get into some fun stuff here that you are going to feel your body respond to what you are trying to achieve in a way that it never has before. You don't want to miss this. Okay, so we're going to talk a bit. I'm going to backtrack a bit into my scenario when I had developed a chronic disease and it was being misdiagnosed or not being diagnosed for a really long time, yet I knew something was wrong. What was interesting to me in reflection when I was finally diagnosed with a chronic Lyme disease is how was it that I could go this long? How could I go 3 years of telling everybody that I was so chronically ill and nobody believing me, but also actually convincing myself at times that I must have been some sort of hypochondriac, I was oversensitive, I was just stressed. And like I often say, if you want to know how bad it had gotten, I went from running a half Ironman to bedridden in 3 years and still could not necessarily convince medical experts as well as myself that it wasn't just stress. So, what was the piece? What was the part that I had missed that didn't allow me to? Well, I quite honestly remember saying, like, am I making this up? Is this as bad as I think? Why does this seem so hard to correct? Why are all the things I normally do to feel better not working? What is going on? And as much as I would have loved to blame everybody else and my life circumstances for how it got so bad, at the end of the day, I came down to one simple piece. I clearly could not have been in tune with myself enough if I had allowed someone else to convince me of what my health level was or wasn't, and was not able to be sure myself how bad things were getting. And so, what is that? Well, as some of you may know, my background was actually wildlife biology initially, and then started to get into more human health. And so, I always revert back to that. How does this happen in nature, in the wild? Maybe. How is this supposed to happen for ourselves naturally if we aren't so influenced by a system that tells us it has to be some other way? And this, my friends, is probably what, no matter what it is you're trying to do for yourself, whatever, however you're trying to feel better, this is one of the most crucial pieces to anything you do in your life to figuring out the right way to do it. And that is that you were born with very strong instincts for what you need. You have them at your core, in your soul, that will help guide you towards what you need. It does not mean that there aren't certain interventions or things you might try, or nutrition plans, or fitness exercises, or experts you want to go to. But you need that inner guidance working with you to help you know where to go, what to take in, what to try, And even more than all of that, you then need that to be able to tell you what's working. So many people I talk to are on supplements or medications or are doing regimes that they just can't tell you. They're afraid not to do them, but they can't really tell themselves whether they're sure it's working. And trust me, I have been there. I have been there where I analyzed everything to death day after day, year after year. So sure something was working, not sure it was working, convinced maybe it was now. Now it's not anymore. And it really is a sign of how disconnected we are with ourselves. But we have to know if we have that disconnection, that we aren't even able to analyze or be sure of what's working or not working for ourselves, then how is our body getting the guidance it needs to heal ourselves? And it's safe to say it's probably not. And for sure, it's probably not getting it as well as it could be. So, what do we do? Where do we go from here? Well, the steps are actually really simple. They're so simple you can be convinced that they probably won't do very much. But it's really important to do these. And whenever you feel like a step or something you're going to do is too simple, my recommendation to you is to do it every day. That is naturally how we are meant to make change, with tiny little pieces we do every day, repetitively, day after day, without fail or without a lot of time or gaps in between, and so repetitively that it becomes natural to our body. And then it is able to have this certainty that you are going to continue to do this so that it can change or adjust or evolve, because it is sure you're going to keep this strategy or system up. And so the same is true with any aspect of your health. But there is one thing you must do. And I made this commitment to myself after really becoming very honest with myself, that the truth was I didn't deserve to be healthy. I just wasn't even connected with myself or taking care of myself. I wasn't listening to myself. So, how could I imagine that I could take care of myself well enough to get my health back? So, the commitment I made to myself was this: I had to check in every day. I had to ask myself these questions. How are you doing? What do you need? Are you actually avoiding acknowledging something that doesn't feel right? What is going on inside that I can recognize in a way so that I can support myself the best? That's what we do when we go to medical experts or to therapists or even to a friend. They check in with us to figure out what we need. Doesn't it make sense that we do that with ourselves every day? Now, if you're one of these people who's pretty committed to meditation or some sort of routine, breathing patterns or exercise that really calms your system, then you probably have a bit of this going on. But I will say the majority of the people I talk to don't, because we find it too hard to go there. And if anything, I will say from my experience, I know why it's scary, because you know what? My body had to tell me. My body had to tell me it was immensely sick. It had to tell me that I had neglected it, although I thought that I exercised and ate well and did all the right things, that I had neglected it in such a fashion that it was going to take me years, maybe a decade, to really get back there. I probably would be avoiding wanting to sit down and check in if that was the answer I was going to get. So, as you can imagine, that answer didn't come by the very first time I did this. But this is the building block for the most profound relationship you will ever develop with your mind, body, and soul, and get them all in sync so that the answers you need to take care of yourself, so the guidance you need on what's working, what's not, what to do next is there. But even more than all of that, those emotions you bring to that partnership, those energies that you bring to yourself, knowing that you are taking care of yourself, sending yourself love, will be the most intense, profound, and powerful energies that you will bring to anything you are trying to achieve. So, as you check in with yourself, I often recommend starting with just a body scan. And it's literally going from head to toe, going down through your system, pausing where you sort of feel there's uncertainty. How is this area doing or feeling? Waiting to see what happens in your system, what your body tells you, what your mind thinks as you're going through these parts of your body. And then there's a few things you want to say to yourself. One being, what can I do to help? It is amazing the very quick answers you will receive because this connection has been here your whole life. Now, is it strong and clear and all those things? Maybe not. But there is a connection there, and the messaging will probably be clearer than any other connections you've tried to make. You ask yourself, what can I do to support this area? Now, I'm going to tell you that a lot of people, when they're improving their health, even if they don't think it's related, can see a lot of benefit by going to improving their gut health first. And there's a really strong reason for this. I mean, they've proven that really every organ now actually has a brain. Our gut and our heart are very similar to that. So there's actually an intelligence that exists there. So you are trying to make a connection from your brain to that intelligence in that organ. And you are trying to receive the messaging and the flow back and forth, as well as you are trying to send a cycle or circuit of energy to that system. So I use the gut as an example because it's been proven that our gut actually has a huge function in our mental health. It is the area where we absorb all the vitamins and minerals we need to improve anything. We know that the majority of the population is vitamin deficient, so it only makes sense we need to improve this. But it also is the place where, when we're not healthy in our gut, we have an inability to really use the foods that we're taking in as they need to be and taking value from them. So, all of this is sort of the core, the basics of existing in nature, existing for animals. It is the core of what fuels us every day to exist. We want it functioning, but it is the quickest way for us to send ourselves challenges, disease, and illness is through our gut lining. So I'm going to use the example of the process on my gut only because I think it will really benefit anybody, no matter what you're dealing with. And so you're imagining the energy flow through your body and doing it like a check in. So you're doing it like at the top of my head. Do I feel tension? Do I feel tightness? Do I feel an openness? Do I feel relaxed? And kind of go through that sensation all through your head. So you're looking for pain. You're looking for tightness and tension. You're looking for imbalances where one side might feel a little bit different than the other. Then, as you're going down, a lot of people through their neck and shoulders will feel tightness. That is where I used to say this is where we used to hold our stress. Now we take it further down into our body and it really sits in our gut. But as you're going through, you're just looking for, and if anything, just looking for a baseline. What does it feel like right now? Maybe if you're not sure whether it's feeling good or bad, you're taking in a baseline so that when you do this tomorrow, you know, does it feel better? Does it feel worse? Is it tighter, looser? And so you're going all the way through your system. You're just analyzing as many parts as you can and either noticing something that could be a problem or noticing what it just naturally feels like for another day. And as you get down to your gut, if that's the area you decide you want to work on, you're going to put your hands on that area. Now, we know our hands are very healing. We know that there are a lot of receptors on our hands that transmit energy to other parts of our body. But more than anything, what you're trying to do is you're trying to draw attention from your nervous system down into that area. And so you're going to hold your hands there. You can hold them apart, you can hold them together, but you're putting them over the area. And I like to say, not only are you drawing attention to that area, you want to draw love to that area. You want to send that area love. And as silly as that may sound, and especially when people are trying to lose weight, if they're noticing it in their mid range, if they're having a lot of stomach issues and irritations, it doesn't feel natural to send love and appreciation to an area that's causing us grief. But it is absolutely the piece we are missing. Because not only do we draw attention to that area when we do that, we actually send the right frequency of energy we want down to that area to send it healing signals. And so, how do we do this? Well, it's actually quite easy, and I do it, find people respond to it best when we do it from the perspective of what do I have to be thankful, although there may be challenges here, although there may be grief or discomfort, what are the benefits that this area of my body has brought me? And as much as our gut can bring us a lot of challenges, it has done so much for us every day, all day long. We can't even imagine being challenged coming up with all the benefits that it has given us. And so I encourage you to put your hands on the area. And then I want you to think about all of the pieces that that area of your body has provided for you. So we know that if it's your gut that you're looking at, it has nourished you. It actually has overcome huge challenges with some of the things we have put in our system. It has stored energy for later days when we maybe didn't have the nutrients that we wanted. It has also taken energy when it was too much or not the right quality and found a way to use it and manipulate it so that it can be provided to us in the best possible fashion. It has honed some of our instincts to help us survive, to avoid danger and fear. It has also, in so many ways, helped us cleanse our body of things that didn't serve it, of feelings that didn't serve it, and it processed them for us and eliminated. I could go on. We can't even imagine all the benefits that certain parts of our body have provided us because we haven't really been paying attention to them or listening to them. But when you put your hands on that area of your body and have gratitude for what it has done, you send a very calming signal through your system. You draw attention to that area through your nervous system that will send healing signals and calls to the rest of your body to bring more resources. So many times, if we've had a part of our body that has been ill for a while, if our body tried to send us signals about a part of the system that wasn't working, and so many of us have been taught to just work through it, surpass them, overlook them, our body actually stops sending healing signals to that area. So we want to waken them back up. We want to draw attention to that area, send signals. We want to imagine energy going through our body. And that's why with the hands, you want to imagine wherever energy is coming from, through our crown, through the ground, coming up through our body from other parts of our body, that our hands create that circuit. We now have energy through our hands going in, energy from the other parts of our body coming in, and sending those signals back through the body over and over in a cycle. And the more we do this, the more that we can bring healing to that area. And that's when you then ask yourself, what else can I do to support? What else do you need to help? So many times when people do this exercise, they'll actually be drawn to a food. And if you go to my blog, the chopped salad recipe is one of my easiest recommendations for a hack to start to eat the right things and get the right vitamins and minerals you want, because you can so easily make it once a week and then tailor it each day to what you need. So take a look at that. And so oftentimes people have been doing that, and we do this exercise, they will visualize that salad. It's such a cool exercise to realize that your body's taking you there. So it's telling you it needs more natural raw foods, it needs more vitamins and minerals with how you can tailor the salad. So many times we will instantly get that hunger signal, but it's going to tell you what foods that you need, or maybe what foods you just need a short break from to help it calm and relax and come back to. And so the same thing happens with any other part of your body. And I often say how in wildlife, if you've ever noticed that if an animal hurts its paw or its leg, it's usually going to stop and one, for sure, rest it. Two, it's probably going to lick it, which is similar to us providing massage, especially if it's an open cut. It's licking it to provide healing to that area. And so we need to do the same. So, say it's a shoulder or an arm, and you do the exact same exercises, asking yourself what you need. You're probably going to visualize that thing or exercise you might need to take a break from, or your bed so that it needs more rest, or a hot water bottle. But in that moment, there is always something we can do to support ourselves, regardless of the messaging we're getting, and that is self massage. So take your self love one step further and actually give it a massage. And so we're continuing that cycle of energy being sent to the area. But what we're actually doing is we're increasing the blood flow. So we know that when we have an injury, that blood flows to the area. That's why we're getting the swelling in the area. That's what's happening when we get an immediate injury. But when we ignore an injury, when we try to work through an injury, like I said, our body stops sending signals because one, that becomes the norm, but it's also saying, well, they're not listening. So why should we keep sending a call for something that they're ignoring? And so when you do the massage, you're going to start to increase that blood circulation. And so you're bringing more oxygen, which we know is so healing. We actually know that our blood plasma is more healing. That's why people do prolotherapy and stem cell replacement treatments. That's bringing more healing blood to the area that's full of nutrients and the healing oxygen that we need. And so why wouldn't we do that? It actually makes ourselves feel better. You are going to bring a calming signal to your whole body. It is amazing to think that we will go and pay somebody to give us a massage, but in the moment when we're hurting the most, it's not natural for us to do that. And it's not natural for us to do it again and again. We need to hone in on those instincts. We need to make sure that we are constantly bringing to ourselves what we need the most. And we need to be sure that we are the ones who bring the healing instinct, the healing signals that we need when our body is telling us to give them. And that, my friends, is when you can be sure that you are always going to be sending the right signals. You now have a body, a brain, and a soul that are working together to bring you the change that you're looking for. So it is the self-love. It is the physical love. And it is knowing that you have the instincts, you have the messaging for the solutions for all of your problems. They will guide you through what things to do for yourself, how to do them, and what is working best. And so that is why it is vital that love, taking care of ourselves, sending physical signals of love, are the pieces that will tell us how to heal the best and help us make the change. And as always, just please remember, you are a beautiful being just as you are. When you embrace your true beauty and prioritize your wellness and self-care and self-love, you shine even brighter. And this is what will illuminate your path to your fullest potential. Much love.